Hey you, welcome back. This is a video newsletter, but unlike the newsletters you might get in your inbox, this one's a lot more cool because it's a video. So we're going to cover a tool review. I'm going to give you a skull cleaning tip. I'm going to cover building this shed, my studio here, and give you the cost on that. I'm going to give you an announcement that's coming this fall, so you'll be the first one to hear about that. I'm going to get you caught up on some of the art I've worked on since I've been active on YouTube. And then I'm going to tell you a story about an art piece that I'm working on for a coworker, which I think you'll really like. These are rotary chisels made by Rotary Chisel. They come in a 3mm shaft size, so they do fit in a Dremel. And they are essentially a burr with the cutting edge kind of extended away from the shaft. And what kind of cut that they give is a trench. So that's essentially, basically, fundamentally what you're going to get with these burrs. These burrs or chisels, whichever you want to call them, come in different profiles. So they have a W cut, a square cut, a V cut, and a round cut. And kind of the best way to see how they work, do a proper review, is to use them on a project. So I have this gourd, I grew it, I got a metallic paint on it, and I'm going to do kind of a band of texture around it and use these different ones to see how it works. So I do really like these. I started out with the W profile, which was a bit too aggressive for the gourd. Gourd's not exactly hard. So I switched over to the V profile, and that's just beautiful. I mean, it cuts like butter. It's like you're just using a pencil or a pen to write on the surface. So I really like the V cut. Most of the people I've seen using the rotary chisels are doing textures on objects and line work. So if you're considering buying one of these, go with the V cut and then get a feel for it, see if you like it, and go from there. But for me, yeah, I can use it with my rotary tool and do some pretty cool designs and line work. This, my friend, is my new workshop. This is my studio. I built it myself. Did have a little bit of help from the family pulling up some of the walls, but not too shabby considering I don't think I've built something since I was like 15 years old. So looks pretty good. It is in like a modernist or modern style, which kind of fits my aesthetic, as they would say, and 12 feet wide by 16 feet deep, 5 windows plus a door. So if you're considering building a workspace, I'd say it's sufficient enough. It's not cramped. It did cost me about $7,000 in materials to build, but a lot of that was in trim. That stuff is super expensive. Trim and insulation. So the entire thing, flooring, ceiling, walls, is all insulated. It stays nice and toasty in the winter, stays relatively cool in the summer with just a fan. It has a little workbench area. That's where I do most of my carving. A little chill area where I respond to y'all's comments. Table where I do a lot of skull work. And then like an area for larger equipment and of course storage. It's nice to finally have a place of my own. I can truly say it's my own, on my own land. For quite a while there, if you followed me, you know, jumped around different rentals and you just had to deal with whatever's there, whether it be shed or garage or even had to rent a milking parlor at one point in order to have a workspace. So this is my own. I'm excited to bring y'all inside, spend some time with you, making art, doing cool things, working with skulls. So yeah, we're gonna spend a lot of time together. It's gonna be fun. Okay, it is skull cleaning tip time. If you've done any type of skull cleaning using maceration or not, at some point you're going to have the skull submerged in water. If it's maceration, it's going to be through the entire process. If not, then you're going to either degrease or whiten the skull in water. And the water will evaporate, so you got to keep putting water in. You can put a bag over the bucket, and that works to some extent, but if you're doing maceration, then bag gets all nasty, you gotta throw it away, you keep going through bags. I've tried putting the entire bucket with the skull and antlers all in a bag as well to keep the moisture in, and that causes some weird issues, so I've gotten away from that. So the solution, balls. Yeah, balls. And by balls, I mean ping pong balls. You can buy these on Amazon. They're relatively cheap. And what you do is you put a bunch in the water, they float to the top, and they create a barrier to where the water evaporates a lot less quickly than it would otherwise. Now, this does only apply to antlered animals, as if the animal doesn't have antlers, you just put a top on the bucket and that works fine. But if you use regular sized ping pong balls, they're going to be too big and there's too much gaps in between the balls to where the water still evaporates. So I buy I believe they're 3/4 inch ping pong balls, dump them in there. It creates a nice tight fit around the antlers and covers the surface. Now you might be asking, well, if you're macerating a skull, don't they get all nasty? And yes, they do, but only for a short period of time, because you use these through the maceration process, then the degreasing process, then the whitening process. So by the time you get to cleaning up your skull, where you're degreasing it and whitening it, the balls as well are getting nice and shiny clean. So at the end of the process, you've got nice, shiny, clean balls. So before we get to the next section, where I have a very exciting announcement to make, I wanted to share some of the artwork, some of the projects that I've been working on in the past year or so, basically since I've posted here on YouTube. So this is a newsletter, so I'm catching you up on everything I've been busy with. And I have been busy, just not so much on YouTube. Sorry about that. But here's about 60 seconds of all the things I've been working on. Liked all those things I've been working on. Now, something else I've been working on is a book, The Antler Ring Guide. Yes, I finally wrote a book about it. Simple tools and steps to make your own rings from antlers. This is coming October 1st of this year. You are the first one to hear about it, so I'm pretty excited about that. There will be pre-orders available, so I will keep you all updated. But it is all my knowledge that I've gained making rings from antlers, your kind of basics of making a ring, talking about inlay on rings, combining different materials, kind of 2 sections in there that are some surprises, I guess you'd say. I've doing some things a bit differently with different makers who have expertise in areas that I don't. So we're combining those in this book. So I'll elaborate on that later, but it's pretty exciting. So if you want to make antler rings, or you've made some but you want to take it a step further, this is going to be the guide for you. You know how you keep certain things around forever, waiting for the perfect project? That's how it was with this block of redwood. I've had it for about 8 years, just sitting there. I pick it up every once in a while, think about how to use it, then put it back. I was always waiting for like the perfect idea to come along. But honestly, that kind of thinking just leads to a shop full of materials and not a lot of finished work. So I decided I'm done saving stuff. I'm just going to use what I have and make something. And this time, I had a good reason. There's a lady I work with. She handles all the inventory in our lab, but she goes way beyond that. She makes sure everyone has what they need, keeps the place from falling apart, basically, and just kind of looks out for us. She's kind of become like the mom of the lab. One day I asked her, and she told me her favorite animal is a goat, because, I asked those kinds of questions. Said she'd love to have a whole herd, but her HOA won't let her have it. And that kind of stuck with me. So I thought, you know what? She can't have real goats. Maybe I can at least make her one of mine. So I grabbed that redwood block and a pair of real goat horns I got from Greece, and I got to work. I carved a minimalist style goat skull, something clean and simple that still felt like it had a story behind it. Redwood is a really cool material. Just the age of it. This piece alone had over 175 growth rings. That's 175 years of life in one block of wood. There's something about using material that old. It kind of reminds you how temporary everything is, but also how meaningful it can be when you make something from it. I like combining natural elements like bones, horns, and wood, things that were once part of a living creature. I try to make art that gives those materials some kind of second life while still honoring where they came from. It's part of why I do what I do with my art. And what I've found over time is that making art is just as good for the person creating it as it is for the person receiving it. When I'm working on a piece, I'm completely all in, focused and grounded. And when someone really connects with what I've made, that's a whole other kind of fulfillment. It's a real win-win. I couldn't film her reaction, but she really liked it. I told her it was the start of her goat herd, just one for now, and completely HOA approved. So yeah, I finally used the redwood, finally stopped waiting, and I made something that mattered. That feels like a good trade. Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you for watching. Please consider and then subscribe. Appreciate you all.